The Jacob Media Sports Network, in partnership with 97.3 ESPN, brings you the Mays and Eytan Show.
Middays with Harry Mays and Eytan Shander.
Now, it's the Midday Show with Harry Mays and Eytan Shander on 97.3 ESPN Radio.
Well, we're live at Dunphy Ford, as we are each and every Thursday here, noon to 2, so we'll be here for the next 2 hours. Jam-packed program, both between the two of us, some guests that'll join us as well, but we're live at 7700 North Frankfort Avenue, just blocks away from the historic Frankfort and Cotman intersection here in Mayfair area, the Northeast. So, as you know, this is the spot to be to buy a vehicle, purchase a pre-owned vehicle. We've been telling you that now for what seems to be months. If you've been listening to the show, you know this is our Thursday home as well. So where we begin, I think, and I don't know how much you want to harp on a victory last night and where the Philadelphia Phillies currently stand, but I imagine that there are a lot of people who are salivating at the opportunity right now to rush to their respective bookies, sports books. Hopefully they're going to Parks Casino, where you and I will be tomorrow, Harry, and overreacting to everything that you possibly could overreact to following week one of the NFL season. And I'm wondering where on the spectrum of overreaction to playing it safe are our Philadelphia Eagles, because I have a number that's going to stagger you. You know that GIF that's on Twitter where the kid's like blown away, like, oh, you're going to be that.
I don't know if I know
have
the
a
one
number
you're referring to, but I've probably seen it.
Really? Here's the thing.
I've probably seen it. I'm not into the GIFs.
I'm going to pull it up for you.
There's too much GIFs. Here's one thing that really annoys me. Is
that guy.
Actually, I've never seen that one.
Are you serious? That's like one of the universal of like, I'm shocked.
Okay. Well, I'd rather just write I'm shocked.
No.
That's just me.
It's Twitter,
Here's
man.
what I love about Twitter and I hate about Twitter is you'll see somebody that's following you, right? You click on their profile, and maybe it's a female, right? You go to their profile, and maybe there's a profile picture of them. You're like, all right, let's see what this person's all about. And every one of their damn tweets is a GIF and a meme.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing but that. It's just one constant stream of memes.
So
I'm out on that.
You immediately mute.
If you don't have something to say and can put a thought together
right
in whatever amount of characters, 280 or whatever it is today, I got no time for you.
Okay.
That's just me.
It's fair.
All right?
It's fair. Listen,
is that fair?
At some point, I guess you're going to have to draw the line, and for you, it's whether or not you use English on social media, or at least type words out.
Yeah,
okay?
I type words out.
Right. No, I understand.
I happen to think that I can put together coherent thoughts and get my point across in a concise manner.
Now, there's something else I want to get to today, because it's a really crazy moment in which something has shut down that, like, remember when Blockbuster shut down, or something even earlier than that for you, and it was probably a sign of your childhood evolving into where we are now in the times?
Okay, like the TV repairman. When I grew up, there was a TV repairman.
A guy would come to your house?
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. I mean, there was this,
Was there a milkman,
too? Absolutely, I had a milkman. We would put a milk box out in front on the front porch, and you'd go out there in the morning, you open up the box, and there's these nice bottles. They
were ice cold, right?
Ice cold bottle of milk.
I bet you that tastes amazing.
Almost like a hard foil top on them, and you just peel that sucker back and pour that whole milk into your cereal or whatever it was, because that's when we drank whole milk.
Sure,
back in
it was
those
probably
days.
the best tasting milk you've ever had in your life.
It was at the time, but I guarantee if I tried it now, I'd throw up.
Was that nasty?
No, but I'm just saying, I've been
thick?
so used to 1% skim milk and all that kind of stuff over the years.
You've been relegated
almond
to the
milk
crap.
and all the stuff that we drink now, coconut milk, that if I went back and actually tried that, I'd probably vomit.
Oh, it's fair. It's fair.
But we had that. We had a TV repairman where there was actually a retail location in the next town over.
This is amazing.
Like if you had an issue with your TV, you'd go in and talk to this guy, and he'd make a house call and try to fix it.
Now they're so cheap, you just go and replace it.
Yeah, you just go to Best Buy and buy two of them.
Seriously, you're down a Wi-Fi card to replace that. It costs more than just going in and getting a new one.
It's unbelievable. So, also, the typewriter was a big deal when I was a kid, because it was pre-computer. I learned how to type in high school on a typewriter.
See, I learned how to type on an Apple IIe.
Okay, well, I wanted to take typing instead of one of these other, like, science courses.
Right.
I was allowed to opt out of, I don't know if it was physics or like an advanced chemistry, so I could take typing because I knew I wanted to be at the time a sports writer. So I'm like, I better learn how to type. That could be an asset that could help me the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And to this day, I'm glad I took it.
No, I understand.
You know, but it was on a typewriter.
Exactly, but you're right. And my mom, I could not type worth a damn, and my mom just basically forced. Part of it's because my penmanship and handwriting is just atrocious, but she sat me down and was basically like, "You're going to have to learn how to type." A, because nobody can read your writing, and B, because everybody's going to be typing.
Right.
Like, this is what people are doing on a computer.
She foresaw the computer thing
because
taking over, right?
So there was something, we'll get to it in a little bit, but just to kind of bring this back, there was a store that closed today that, for me, was your typewriter/TV repairman, and for you, I feel like, has already passed you. And I don't mean that as a negative. I just mean as far as like a generational thing.
Okay.
Like, I wouldn't expect you to have ever even stepped foot in one of these stores, let alone, know like the fact that it closed today or it being closed is a shock.
All right.
Because actually, I think a lot of people who don't play video games and don't actually own a system and game or stream or play via Twitch would even know that, a store like that would close. But let's start with something at least current. We'll get into the NFL in a minute. I know you've got your Drew Smiley numbers up there ready to go.
No, I'm just getting ready for our guest at 12:30, Michael Bradley, at Daily Ombre on Twitter.
Wait, I thought Joe was joining us at 12:30.
No, that's at 1:30.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's at 1:30.
Okay.
Yeah. Just read your text. I sent you all this stuff this morning.
Sorry.
I was booking the show at 6:30 this morning. I'm sending Josh all the phone numbers because I know he's a very impatient guy and he likes to have everything in order. So I got everything taken care of by 7 o'clock in the morning today.
Okay.
All right.
And listen, you weren't even at the studio.
No.
Trying to avoid the pinball machine that is Gil, Moshe, Rothstein bouncing around that studio.
Yeah, that's a very, very busy place. But Ombre, Bradley's going to pop off on the Phillies. I know I'll have something on the Eagles, and he's definitely going to have something on his Michigan Wolverines and Jim Harbaugh. So that's coming up at 12:30.
Oh,
go ahead.
He's going to try to defend Shea Patterson, handing the football
I don't think
over to
so.
the Army?
I don't think so.
No, I wasn't tagged in this. You notice that?
Tagged in what?
In the Daily Ombre tweet.
Well, right there it is, and there it says, at Shander Show.
How come I didn't see it?
Right here.
Nah, how come I didn't see it? I missed it. Maybe he muted me.
No.
We're going to have to bring that up. All right. So you're getting ready for your guest, with our guest, with all of your data. Mm-hmm. Do you not want to start with the Phillies? Because I have a number with the NFL.
I want to start
that's going to shock you.
Wherever you want.
Well, I don't want to be accused of ignoring the Philadelphia Phillies.
No, I'm not going to. I'm perfectly fine not even talking
the show
about
after us snickers behind our backs about how little we talk about the Philadelphia Phillies with the intent of me just trying to ignore it.
I don't think so, because outside of the day where they go through Frank Close's mailbag, I don't know that they talk about the Phillies more than 5 minutes.
No.
I'm serious.
The first 23 minutes of the show is always Phillies.
Well, whatever. That's their show. Let's get our show going for our first 23 minutes. Where would you like to start?
I'd like to start with the Action Network.
All right.
And what I found as far as, the typical, hey, it's an overreaction Monday, Harry.
Yeah.
It's an overreaction week, and specifically week 2. And again, I don't know how this factors in specifically with the Eagles game and just overall how it factors in with how you look at the weekend. But teams getting at least 70%, this is from the Action Network, teams getting at least 70% of spread bets are just 59, 97, and 4. You know what percentage that comes out to be? 37.8.
Okay.
Against the spread in weeks 2 and 3. In all other weeks, they're 50%.
Yeah, including week 1.
And week 17, which is crazy because you never know who's going to play.
Yeah, you never know who's playing.
Exactly right. That's at 58.2%.
I like to avoid that week, to be honest with you. I hate week 17.
Week 17, ironically, is the best week for public teams
at
58.2%.
That's probably why I hate it.
Well, but you know what, though? A lot of it makes sense where if you know a team is either going to sit or pull guys early, then you can take the other team, you can take an under, things along those lines. But the point of it being, Harry, that's a significant drop in weeks 2 and 3.
Right. And that's overreacting to a Week 1 performance, a la the Atlanta Falcons getting dusted in Minnesota.
Thank you.
That game was over before you knew it. It was 14-0 before you blinked an eye. There was turnovers. I think they had blocked a punt and had a short field. The next thing you know, it's 14-0, and Atlanta couldn't run the ball.
That's right.
So it totally changed the game. The field was lopsided. Dalvin Cook got off, and the Minnesota defense just shut down a one-dimensional Atlanta offense. So everybody looks at that and they say, wow, Atlanta is not as good as we thought they were. And the Eagles, boy, did you see them in the second half against the Redskins? They held the ball for 21 of 30 minutes.
They came alive.
They did everything they wanted to do offensively. Deshaun Jackson is going to have, 15 touchdowns, because he got 2 big ones in the first week. I'm taking the Eagles in a rout. This is going to be a walkover.
Amazing how that works.
Is that where you're going?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Eagles come in as a 1-point favorite, I see right now.
Right.
And a lot of people, I think, look at this game as cake.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this game like, come on, to your point, everything you laid out is why I believe people will be heavy on the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's not, hey, you got burnt by some backdoor cover. It's at one point with Atlanta at home, you're not talking about covering. You're talking about getting beat outright. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the conversation, which is how does this not become so close if it's not playing off of the overreaction? And the people that are doing this, setting lines based off overreaction, are doing it to win money week 2 and 3.
The other thing is you look at that line and the bettor looks at that and says, hey, A, I think the Eagles are a better football team. B, the line is only 1.5. They only have to win by 2 or a field goal. They can easily go down to Atlanta and win by a field goal. Hell, Doug Peterson's won all 3 of the games he's played against the Atlanta Falcons, and some of that's been in the playoffs, right?
Absolutely.
So let's take the Eagles. They'll win the game 23-20, 24-21.
Minus 126 on the money line. Now, that's not like a Chiefs minus 315. That's not a convincing – this team we're pretty sure they're going to win it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's pretty close. And again, it would reflect a close line as well. But the point of it being that you hear a stat like that and how significantly less of an advantage the teams that are going up and favored against the spread are in weeks 2 and 3. And all we have right now is week 2. And it's just a lot right now to factor in on a team that really can't afford to have us. If you want to bring it to the field, well, 2 things. One, if they can't get pressure on Matt Ryan for whatever reason, Jim Schwartz wants to say it's the secondary, we want to say it's the front 4, whatever the case may be. This is not Case Keenum.
No.
This is a guy who you all are basically provoking and prodding and saying, hey, man, throw the ball for 350 yards.
No, and it's also Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, Calvin Ridley, Devontae Freeman in the backfield, all this Austin Hooper, their tight end. He had 9 catches last week against Minnesota. So he's going to be somebody that Matt Ryan is going to be looking for. So they got a lot of weapons. Their front line, their offensive line, though, was banged up. They lost first-round draft pick, their right guard, Chris Lidstrom, last week to a foot injury. I don't know if he broke it or whatever it is, but he's out. And the other draft pick, I believe it was a second-round pick, maybe a later first-round pick, McGarry, the right tackle. He's a rookie. So they had 2 rookies on the right side, but now one of them, the better player, is out.
And isn't their center banged up too?
Yeah, he's a good player, though.
No, I know, but I don't know if he's going to miss the game, but I believe he's hurt.
I didn't see him on any injury report, but maybe I'm wrong. But
no, that's fine.
They got Jamon Brown playing right guard, and this is a guy that came in. They wanted to have him be the left guard. He couldn't he couldn't win the job. Now he's the backup, sort of. We put him anywhere, kind of. He's the Wisniewski.
Well, I was going to say the Vitae.
Falcons, or Vitae.
Vitae now.
Vitae is probably a better player than this guy.
Let's hope.
So what I'm saying is Fletcher Cox is going to have could have a field day.
Absolutely. It's going to be Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, so that's something to look out for. The right side of that offensive line for Atlanta against the defensive front of the Eagles.
All right, so that's the first thing that, again, can't happen as we saw last week and would play into this line being so tight, play into the Eagles barely being a favorite, despite what we saw out of both teams last week, especially the second half. And that brings me to the first half. Whereas if you're at home Sunday night and you're Atlanta and you're seeing a team in Philadelphia that has all this talent, that did all these things last week, and they're at 3 or 7 points going into the half,
like they were last week.
Exactly. you should be up at least 17-7. Like, you should have at least a 10-point cushion going into the half if the Eagles are playing that poorly on offense to where they can't move the football, because it's going to put way too much stress on the defense. The only thing that'll save them is a turnover or two.
And the other thing is, let's say the game plays out similar to the way the Redskins-Eagles first half did. Like you say, let's say Atlanta gets like a nice 20-7 lead at halftime, right?
Yes.
Well, now you got the Dome, which gets very, very loud. It's not the Superdome, but it's a significant, problem for offensive linemen, for the wide receiver. Everybody hear audible calls, what have you, going into a second half where you're on the road having to close out a game and come back by 2 scores.
That's a great point.
Which was they made it look very easy in that third quarter. They totally dominated the third quarter against the Redskins, drove right down in a great drive, mixed in a lot of runs, and just, boom, 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 right down the field, touchdown, 20-14. You're feeling good. Next thing you know, 6 minutes later, it's 21-20.
Right.
And now you've got all the momentum, and the crowd's going crazy. Instead of booing you like they were in the first half, now it's become a frenzy.
And it's
so
going to
think
be
of that in
Saturday.
reverse.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Frenzy's a great term to use.
The Eagles need to get off to a good start.
Got to take them out,
That's,
as you're saying, right?
Yeah,
take them out right away.
Or at least be with them. You can't be behind.
It's fair. Yeah, because you're right. Like, going into the half, even if it's 17-17, you go into the half and the Falcons have given you a lot on offense. They've been able to move the ball, and you're right there with them. It's not going to ultimately deflate them the same way as if it's 17-0 Philadelphia, but it's going to take a lot of energy out of them.
Yeah.
The crowd and people watching it, where it's like, hey, man, we threw all our right hooks at this guy, and he's not even bleeding.
Right. He's not even phased.
Right.
We'll take another Deshaun Jackson's halftime speech, or Dougie P getting into their rear ends for a few minutes.
I was thinking about that real quick.
Yeah.
The Deshaun Jackson speech at halftime, I think, has shown you, if you want to go back to another famous speech that he was involved in, or at least action with a speech as well that he was involved in the first time he was here in Philadelphia. And it probably defines how his maturity has 180'd and how he has really come around to be more of a spokesperson on the team, a veteran, a leader.
He's an elder statesman.
He is.
Think
No,
about that.
I understand that, right? Still a diva, but I know.
But he's not a diva to the
we'll see.
lengths of OBJ, AB, and some of these other
Well,
guys.
AB is on his own island.
Yeah.
But my point of it being, do you remember when Deshaun Jackson got barked out and then benched by Andy Reid at halftime in Chicago for a game in which he ducked out of a couple of passes, got hurt, came back, and was just basically flailing around in there? And Andy Reid let him have it. And he got benched. And we heard about this.
I don't remember that.
Yes, it was in Chicago against the Bears, and this is when Andy Reid was here.
Okay.
And it was just about how immature and how out of the game he was, and he wasn't, like, physically in it as well. And this was this whole big thing, and you look at where we are now.
See, I'm such a fan of Deshaun Jackson.
You blacked it out of your head?
Since he got here and hosting the Deshaun Jackson show way back when, I chose probably to block that out.
Is that right?
I blocked it out.
Man, I didn't realize. Well, I can't get on
know.
right now, so I'll let you know when I can get back on the internet.
No, I don't remember that.
609-403-0973. Now, again, I wanted to do this before we get to Mike Bradley here. El Hombre. What is it? Daily Hombre.
Daily
Daily Hombre.
Yeah.
Before we get into an apology that I need to issue to everybody yesterday who texted us on the text board, before we get into that, this is the theory that I bring up to you, and I wonder, are you a guy who typically bets anti-super public? So if there is a heavy public favorite, do you look at this and think that's a clear indication to stay away? Maybe not the sole reason.
Not automatically, but I do consider it.
Is it a top 3 or 4 factor?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Top 3 factors
Yes.
probably it. So there is this design, if you will, and again, Action Network in the same article provided this. It's a week 2 and 3 diagram against the public. And I wonder if we can apply this to maybe even the Eagles. Now, again, not to this specific game, but maybe week 3, or just in general, and identify a couple of games that this would work. Spread is minus 3.5 to 7.5. The spread percentage is 10 to 30. Week number, or the round, is 2 or 3. So $5,000 won, 68-63 and 1 record, with a 52% win share, meaning
Okay.
you're
So
going to win.
against.
That's against the spread,
Okay.
right? With those numbers, anywhere from -3.5 to 7.5.
So I would think that would be a little higher. I mean, 52%. I would think that would be a little bit higher. But whatever.
Well,
That's
so
just week 2 and 3.
Let me lay these games out. We'll
All
get
right.
to Michael Bradley, 12:45. I'll do the apology. How about that?
Okay.
Cowboys at Skins, 86%.
Are on Dallas.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're -4.5. They fit. They fit in there.
This is at Washington, too,
Correct.
right?
So
Yeah.
you would take Washington here. Bears, 82%, -2.5
Against Denver.
in Denver.
Yeah.
Now, this is one tonight.
That's a hold-your-nose game right there if you got
Oh,
to
my
take
God.
Denver.
Oh, my God.
Watching Denver last week.
Brutal.
I at least saw some things from the Redskins. Now, they got some injuries, too.
Right.
Geis,
Right.
and, of course, their big defensive tackle, Jonathan Allen, is hurt. But they at least showed me that they have some semblance of an offense.
Correct. Now, I'm applying this line of thinking to this next game specifically. Panthers, 82%, -6.5 in
Tonight.
Tampa. So I have taken that risk-free bet that we all get, courtesy of Parks Casino, parkscasino.com/PA. Use our promo code SWEEP. And I have split it on 2 big bets.
Oh, yeah?
For Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Because at this point, I'm going to get the money back if I lose out.
Right.
But there's some pretty big ones.
So you took the Bucks plus the 6?
I'll tell you exactly what I took.
Because I saw it at 7.
Yeah, I think where I got it was 7.
Okay.
But I'm just showing you when the article came out, it was 6.5. But yeah, man, when you look at exactly what I have to find it for you. But
I took the over in that game tonight at 49. I thought that was a little high.
Well, you got points. You got something on the money line.
I thought that was a little high, but so that indicated to me like I could see these. A lot of times these two teams play these ugly 17-14 games, So 49 tells me that there's going to be some fireworks tonight. So I went over.
Okay,
The public probably likes that too.
I was looking at that, man. I really was looking at that, and
Because they tend to like overs.
I know I stayed away from it only because, damn it, how do I look at this? Okay, here we go. So I stayed away from that only because it was so tight, and I was looking at these two teams, and I'm thinking, damn it, I don't know if I think they can get there. So here's what I do have. This is what I, not parlayed, but 2 separate that I split that $250 risk-free bet across. Bucks, margin of victory, 13 to 18 points.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
Outright stop. Again, I'm going up against this.
You're going up like the Bucks are going to blow out the Panthers tonight.
Yeah. Now look at that payout.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you're talking about a pretty healthy payout.
Yeah.
But
That's like winning a lottery ticket.
I'm trying to play off the fact that this is how you do the risk-free bet.
Okay.
All right? You risk-free bet hoping you can get something big. And the second one, again, playing off the fact of Tampa winning, all I need is Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win with a parlay of Evans having 100-plus yards receiving.
All right.
So
there you go.
if Tampa's going to win this game,
Well, he's probably going to have 100 yards
absolutely,
receiving if they win the game. You're right about
all right.
that.
609-403-0973. Any of these games real quick. Peyton's at home, plus 2.5, where 80% of the money is on the Chargers.
I might look at the Lions there.
Now look at this one.
And I love Phillip Rivers, but I might look at the Lions there.
Why?
I just have a hunch.
Okay. Here's one that changed
Hunter
rapidly.
Henry's out, too.
He's out.
He injured himself again.
Correct. And speaking of being out, this one changes things drastically. Initially, it was the Browns, 77% of the money on them, minus 2.5 in New York. You think the Jets are a lock here.
Until their quarterback gets mono.
Absolutely.
I mean, I tweeted this just a little while ago. Like, there's certain franchises that just invent ways to, like, hinder themselves. I forget what my exact tweet was, but it's like Monday Night Football is featuring 2 of those organizations, the Browns and the Jets. They just invent ways to get in their own way.